Welcome back, true believers, to part 3, which is the final part of me accurately breaking down the Spider-Man PS4 suit. So in the past two videos I made, I was breaking down the front of the suit, as well as like the main majority of the suit, which was the arms, the legs, the web shooters, the lenses, the eyes, the web design, and everything. So now I'm going to analyze the back, which you could be saying, Evan, why are you analyzing the back? It's just a white spider. But there's some aspects that you might not have seen up close if you were watching the trailer thoroughly. So, and you probably have already spotted it now, which right here, as you can see, a couple things in the back. One, and I will get into the spider last because it's really obvious what that logo represents, and I will talk about that in detail in a minute. But right now, the back right there, where the blue is, you can see more of the layered piping or the layered lines that are external. They're not like, meshed in the suit. They're actually sticking out of the suit. And they're going from, near his spine to where his shoulders are, to where his hips and, sides are of his body. And again, I don't know if that's for the web shooters, like if those are piping lines connecting from his body to his web shooters, like you can even see it on his arm right there, or if it's just a way to kind of like keep the suit, stitched up or something like that. But also, as you can see right there, the fabric, not the piping, but I mean the literal fabric interwoven within the suit, are the little hexagon patterns that, when we think of a Spider-Man suit, we usually think of this, where you see like those little red hexagons in the back of that white spider logo. If you can kind of see them there, but you know what I'm talking about, where the red hexagon, little shaped logos slash pattern slash fabric is what we kind of recognize with Spider-Man's suit. That was in like the Sam Raimi suit. That was also in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. That was in the Civil War suit, I think. So it's in the majority of Spider-Man suits, and it's clearly seen here in the blue, and I'm assuming it's also there in the red. And speaking of the red, the main design of Spider-Man's red, when it comes to the back, is that the red kind of goes straight across. It goes straight across from where his shoulder meets to just literally straight horizontal to where his other shoulder is, or sometimes it kind of goes straight up instead, like what the Amazing Spider-Man suits did. They did a cool kind of trapezoid pattern. They went straight, then they went diagonal, then they went straight again, then they went diagonally down, then they went straight again to the arms, or the shoulders, I mean. So now, it's doing the opposite, which I think is super awesome, because it also sticks out, and it's laying underneath the spider on the back. As you can see there, the line starts from his shoulder, it goes it does a curved motion downwards, then it makes a cool little U shape that lays onto the upper body of that spider right there, and then it does the same thing back up. So that's a really interesting shape and design choice on why they would do that for this suit. I don't know what the reason is behind that. If it's just to make it look cool, I think it looks great. And it works perfectly with this universe's Spider-Man because it seems more, I wouldn't say teched out, but I guess it would seem more modern and more kind of stylized, and in the way that people would make superhero suits now. They would use kind of like padding and extra dimensional type of layers and fabrics and stuff that would look like it's armored, or, at least has some protection on it. So that might be a reason why, like, it's deep and it's padded and it's protective for Spider-Man, is what I'm assuming that the external parts are. And as you can see, the difference between the logo on the back between any other Spider-Man suit before is, again, in previous Spider-Man suits, all of them, the suits from Civil War and the Amazing Spider-Man 1 did this, but then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit and the 3 Raimi suits, or the suits from the 3 Raimi movies, had the logo sticking out of his suit. They were just kind of like, it was a layered thing. And they're doing this again with the logos on the front and the back, but specifically on the one in the back, and they really they excessively stated this just for this picture alone. Like, look at the legs and the body of this spider, especially the top legs near his shoulders. It's laying on top of him. So this leads me to believe a couple things. One, as I was saying before, it could lead to protection, which if you have played Batman Arkham Knight, when you first meet the Arkham Knight in person, like you're having an actual conversation with him, and the guards are about to like shoot Batman and that scientist you're trying to save at Ace Chemicals, Arkham Knight points out that the bat symbol on Batman's chest is the most heavily armored point of the entire Batsuit. I think this could be also used for Spider-Man. These white logos are gigantic. Now, it could also be for, like, you know, he's really growing as a person and he's growing in his powers, so that's why the spiders are huge, to show the way of how he's bigger and better and grown and he's more experienced. But what if it's just a way to protect him? What if this is like armored padding within this white spider that maybe Peter has kind of insulated with extra padding and stuff that he is more protected with? And I think that would be a really smart thing to do, because Insomniac Games have stated that this Spider-Man is really smart, and Peter is really smart as a person. So, not just as Peter Parker, but also as Spider-Man. So how would Peter incorporate his intelligence within the suit? And I think that would be great with using these little layered pipings as a way to like layer the suit out, and then also the really heavily padded spider that's externally on his back as a way to like protect himself from like suspicious gunfire, maybe like, you know, wounds or, you know, hits that he's getting from enemies that he's fighting, multiple enemies at once, which I love. And now the obvious one, which I said I would save for last, is the logo itself. So I think the one thing I can agree with all of you is that yes, this logo definitely reminds me a whole lot of the Sam Raimi logo. It just with a few minor twists. So as you can see, this logo is from the Sam Raimi movies for the red suit, Spider-Man, and that suit logo looked exactly like this, where the legs were just kind of small, but then they were also kind of medium, then they stretched out to the side, and then they just kind of covered the middle of his chest as well as the majority of his back, but then the back spider in the Sam Raimi trilogy was different. That there were two different spiders. One on the front was different, that was this logo, and then the one on the back was kind of, it had bigger legs, I would say, and it spread out more towards his, it pointed out like more that way, I would think, instead of like upward, which had a really cool design pattern as well. And for the Spider-Man PS4 logo, as you can see, it looks almost identical, but with a few twists, like I said, like the legs are still kind of stretching out to the right, and they're kind of also sticking out, and the upper legs are also sticking upward as well, but the legs are longer. They have more length to them, as well as the legs on the top. They're more kind of, I would say, straighter, and they're also more pointier. They're more, I wouldn't say vicious, but I would say kind of more on the offense, I would say. I would say, like, as a comparison from this logo, they're just kind of like normal spider legs. Like, it's straight across, then up, straight across, then up. This one, it's like straight diagonal down, then like totally upright and straight. So I think that might be an offensive move. And as you can see on the back of the suit, it's much longer on the back than it is on the logo on the red background. So I think that is just a way to say that Spider-Man is here. You can't miss his logo. When you see that giant white spider, you know he is there to save you. And that is it for the accurately breaking down the Spider-Man PS4 suit series. This is the final part of this series. I had a ton of fun breaking down this suit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, True Believers. Peace out.